Imagine lying wounded on a battlefield, your vision blurred by sweat and blood, your ears filled with the distant cries of fallen comrades. The fierce rhythm of battle fades away as a chilling thought grips your mind. In the unforgiving world of ancient Sparta, injury didn't just threaten death, it threatened disgrace, dishonor, and abandonment. Today, we delve into the shocking and largely untold story of what really happened to wounded Spartan warriors, exploring the brutal reality behind Sparta's legendary military machine that valued strength and perfection above humanity itself. From the moment they were born, Spartans were destined for war. Only the strong survived infancy. The weak were mercilessly discarded, thrown from cliffs to die. This ruthless filtering process marked the first of many brutal selections designed to maintain Sparta's ideal of physical perfection. Every Spartan boy endured the harsh agoge, a training regime designed to mold them into the fiercest soldiers the world had ever seen. Pain, suffering, and deprivation became their teachers. Spartan warriors were conditioned not merely to tolerate pain, but to relish it as a test of character and strength. Yet, despite their rigorous training, wounds and injuries were inevitable. On the battlefield, Spartans displayed legendary bravery, fearlessly charging enemy ranks with little regard for their own safety. A wounded soldier posed a critical question to Spartan society. Was he still useful? Could he still fight? The Spartan ethos hinged on functionality and utility. Any soldier who could no longer fight risked becoming a burden, a disgrace to himself and his entire lineage. If a Spartan soldier survived battle but suffered crippling injuries, his ordeal had only just begun. Spartan society was notoriously brutal in dealing with soldiers unable to fight. Severely wounded warriors faced ostracization and isolation, shunned even by their families. Spartan mothers famously handed shields to their sons before battle with the chilling instruction, "Come back with this or upon it." Returning without one's shield, especially wounded, signified cowardice, weakness, and failure. Thus, a wounded soldier faced humiliation far more terrifying than death itself. For those fortunate enough to suffer only minor injuries, the Spartan system displayed a harsh pragmatism. Basic medical care did exist, administered by field medics who were skilled at swiftly dressing wounds, splinting broken limbs, and performing basic surgeries without anesthetics. The Spartan medical practice was brutally straightforward and utilitarian, driven by necessity rather than compassion. Spartan medics, often former warriors themselves, operated swiftly and ruthlessly, driven by one goal: returning soldiers to combat readiness as quickly as possible. Pain was an accepted and expected part of the process. But for severely wounded warriors, those missing limbs or rendered permanently disabled, the outlook was grim. Historical evidence paints a bleak picture of their fate. Unable to contribute militarily, these unfortunate souls faced Spartan society's brutal pragmatism. In rare cases, a distinguished warrior might earn a grudging respect, allowed to live out his days as a training instructor or storyteller, recounting past glories to inspire younger generations. But such exceptions were extraordinarily rare. Most commonly, severely wounded soldiers were stripped of their honor, relegated to humiliating and mundane tasks far removed from their former glory. They performed menial labor, becoming living reminders to others of the cost of weakness. Society treated them with scorn, their former bravery forgotten, overshadowed by their physical inadequacies. The shame inflicted upon these former warriors was purposeful, a powerful incentive designed to motivate Spartan soldiers to avoid injury at all costs, reinforcing the brutal efficiency of Spartan warfare. Sparta's disdain for weakness also had another darker consequence. Historical accounts suggest that many severely wounded Spartans chose suicide rather than face disgrace. Death was preferable to dishonor, and Spartan culture glorified suicide in the face of defeat or shame. Warriors who could no longer serve Sparta took matters into their own hands, ending their lives to preserve their honor and dignity. It was a tragic reflection of a society that valued strength above life itself, a chilling reality that highlighted Sparta's ruthless commitment to military dominance. Yet even in this harsh landscape, there existed glimmers of humanity. Spartan camaraderie was legendary, forged through shared suffering and collective resilience. On rare occasions, fellow warriors shielded wounded comrades from the full wrath of societal judgment. They provided discreet assistance, offering food, shelter, and support out of sight from watchful eyes. These secretive acts of kindness revealed a paradox within Spartan society, one where ruthless militarism coexisted uneasily with deep bonds of brotherhood forged in blood and battle. Additionally, some historical evidence suggests Spartan attitudes softened slightly in the face of extraordinary heroism. Warriors who exhibited exceptional bravery, even if severely injured, could receive limited recognition. Sparta's ruling elite understood that complete abandonment of heroic warriors risked demoralizing their legendary fighting force. Thus, occasional public acknowledgements and celebrations of wounded veterans occurred, carefully orchestrated displays to maintain morale and loyalty among the ranks. Nevertheless, the prevailing attitude toward wounded soldiers remained harshly pragmatic. Sparta's entire societal structure revolved around military efficiency, leaving little room for sentimentality or compassion. Every soldier understood the brutal calculus of Spartan warfare: glory or death, victory or disgrace. Those injured in battle faced not only physical pain, but the emotional devastation of societal rejection. It was a stark, unforgiving system, one designed to create warriors who feared dishonor far more than death. The story of Sparta's wounded soldiers reveals a brutal truth behind one of history's most admired warrior societies. Spartan glory, immortalized in tales of heroism and legendary battles, masked a darker reality, a society whose commitment to warfare and perfection demanded extraordinary sacrifices from its people. The treatment of wounded Spartans illustrates the harsh consequences of a culture driven by martial excellence, raising profound questions about humanity, dignity, and the true cost of military greatness. Today, the legacy of Sparta's wounded warriors challenges us to reconsider what true strength means. It invites reflection on the price of perfection and the value society places on compassion versus conquest. Sparta's warriors were legendary, but their story is a sobering reminder that behind every heroic myth lies a harsher, often heartbreaking truth. A truth we must confront if we are to fully understand the complex and often cruel history of humanity's endless quest for power and dominance. Despite the severity of Sparta's brutal treatment of its wounded warriors, historical accounts occasionally reveal fascinating complexities beneath the seemingly rigid surface. Ancient sources suggest that Spartan society sometimes grappled internally with the harshness of its ideals. Though openly merciless toward weakness, Spartans privately acknowledged the moral ambiguity of their traditions, wrestling quietly with the psychological toll exacted by their relentless pursuit of military perfection. Spartan elders, tasked with maintaining social order and military readiness, understood the delicate balance between discipline and morale. Thus, behind closed doors, the issue of wounded warriors often sparked heated debates, quiet whispers in the halls of power, hidden carefully from the ears of younger, impressionable soldiers who needed unwavering clarity in their beliefs. Historical records indicate a nuanced, if secretive, policy shift during the Peloponnesian War, particularly after severe losses inflicted by prolonged campaigns against Athens and her allies. Sparta faced manpower shortages, and maintaining a pure, uncompromising stance towards wounded warriors grew increasingly impractical. Privately, commanders began tolerating soldiers who, though injured, demonstrated strategic insight or held valuable battlefield knowledge. Rather than openly ostracizing these warriors, commanders quietly reassigned them to advisory or supportive roles, preserving their dignity without compromising Sparta's outwardly harsh image. This hidden pragmatism reveals an intriguing paradox. Sparta, famed for its uncompromising ideology, occasionally sacrificed purity for practicality. Even the most rigid military cultures, it seems, could bend under the weight of necessity. Yet these shifts were subtle, concealed beneath layers of strict public discourse, and never openly acknowledged. Sparta's elders carefully maintained the illusion of unwavering standards, fearing any visible leniency would erode the foundational ideals driving their formidable military reputation. Beyond internal debates, the psychological impact of injury and abandonment in Spartan society remains a profoundly compelling aspect of their history. Modern psychological analyses suggest Spartan warriors, conditioned from childhood to suppress fear and pain, experienced severe emotional distress when confronted with physical vulnerability and societal rejection. The stigma attached to weakness compounded their psychological wounds, often plunging these once proud warriors into profound despair. Thus, the tragedy of Sparta's wounded extended far beyond physical injury. It was a deeply psychological and emotional trauma. In some rare instances, stories of wounded Spartans transcended their society's rigid boundaries and resonated deeply with neighboring Greek city-states. Tales emerged of Spartan warriors who, abandoned by their homeland, found new homes in cities like Athens or Corinth. Though initially suspicious of these wounded outsiders, rival city-states sometimes embraced them, intrigued by their exceptional discipline, insights, and first-hand knowledge of Spartan tactics. This unexpected integration highlights a remarkable irony. Sparta's rigid cruelty inadvertently enriched its enemies, who gained invaluable intelligence and skills from warriors once deemed worthless by their own society. These extraordinary accounts challenge the monolithic perception of Spartan society, revealing hidden complexities and unexpected humanity amid ruthless militarism. Spartan culture, while uncompromising, was not immune to the realities of human empathy, necessity, and strategic adaptability. The dichotomy between public harshness and private flexibility demonstrates that even Sparta, arguably the most rigidly militaristic society in history, experienced moments of internal contradiction and adaptation. Furthermore, modern historians and scholars continue to debate the implications of Sparta's treatment of wounded warriors. While some view this harsh practice as a regrettable necessity of ancient warfare, others interpret it as an extreme reflection of societal values taken to their logical, tragic end. Sparta's wounded warriors serve as cautionary figures, stark reminders of the human cost of societies that elevate martial excellence above individual dignity and compassion. This duality makes Sparta's story both timeless and urgently relevant. Modern military cultures still grapple with balancing discipline, efficiency, and humanity. Contemporary discussions around veterans' welfare, psychological trauma, and societal reintegration echo the dilemmas faced by ancient Spartans. Sparta's historical experience underscores the importance of acknowledging and addressing the invisible wounds of warriors, urging societies to reconcile military necessity with humane compassion. Ultimately, the narrative of Sparta's wounded warriors invites profound contemplation on the true meaning of strength and honor. Their fate challenges us to reconsider our cultural narratives around warfare, heroism, and vulnerability. Strength, Sparta teaches us, is not merely physical prowess, but also the moral courage to confront the harsh realities of human fragility. The true test of a society lies not only in its military might, but also in its capacity for empathy, resilience, and compassionate understanding. Today, as we retell the stories of Sparta's wounded warriors, we confront uncomfortable truths about human nature, societal values, and the enduring legacy of ancient warfare. Sparta's legendary discipline and valor came at a severe cost, exacting a toll that reverberated through generations. Their stories compel us to reflect deeply on our own values, prompting critical questions. What sacrifices are we willing to make for our ideals? How do we define honor, strength, and dignity? And most importantly, how can we ensure that the pursuit of excellence never eclipses our fundamental humanity? These profound inquiries continue to echo through history, reminding us of the enduring lessons and stark realities behind Sparta's legendary warriors.